Hello guys, good evening and welcome back to another exciting Doctor Who review. Now last time we did the review on The Mind of Evil, but today I'm going to be reviewing another personal favourite of mine. And I have to say that this story rarely gets talked about in any Doctor Who collection. John Pertwee's era is fabulous and this story is none other than a brilliant story. It's really fantastic and you could say it's an underrated gem, a personal guilty pleasure in my opinion. And it is the Claws of Axos. I love this story. Has some brilliant concepts introduced with Axonites and how it's almost like bait for human greed. And when they get their little grubby little hands on it and spread it all across the world, that actually is a good thing for the humans, but it's also a good thing for the Axons in this story. It's merely like the beginning for the entire conquest for the destruction of Earth. It's a really interesting plotline. The characters are really fantastic and I like the Axons in this. They're really good. Although they may look elegant on the outside, but inside the little monsters like the spaghetti monsters are absolutely menacing and hideous. They may look like very low budget monsters, but I absolutely love them. I think they're really fantastic. They're menacing as ever, and I think I like the elegant humanoid Axon. I think they look like almost like humans with just gold faces, but they just look menacing and they're absolutely a threat towards the Doctor and also to the Master as well. And I absolutely love the sets. It looks so colourful and really psychedelic. Like there were a few scenes of where the Doctor and Joe went to the spaceship and they were under like the hallucination of that the organic systems of the ship can affect the Doctor and Joe's mind, and it's such a really interesting and really fascinating story, and I think many people really need to appreciate this story more often. So let's get straight into the review on The Claws of Axos, written by Bob Baker and Dave Martin. When a damaged spaceship containing beautiful humanoid creatures called Axons land on Earth, the Doctor, Joe and Unit are sent to investigate. In return for their help, the Axons offer the gift of Axonites, which would end world famine. It all appears too good to be true. But so what secrets are the Axons hiding aboard their ship? And why is the Doctor's old enemy, the Master, involved? Well, the Master actually brought these Axons down to Earth in order for their conquest to steal all of the Earth's energy and use it for themselves to have the ability for space-time travel so they can expand their entire feeding range and have all of their available energy sources towards them to make them the most powerful race in the entire galaxy. With Earth sucked dry from all of its energy and all of mankind and all of its life, the Axons will rule supreme. And it's such a fantastic story. I really like the story, and especially the characters in this. They're absolutely amazing. I think there are a few characters where they really get on the Doctor's bad side in my opinion, and that's Mr. Chin and Windsor. Windsor is actually one of the scientists that helps out with the Doctor's experiments with the development and analysing of Axonites, but he was like completely in a disagreement and was getting on the Doctor's nerves, and you can see of how obedient the Doctor was towards him, and he was saying like, don't you see man, the only way to break it down into the light accelerator. So like he was like saying no, I can't risk £50 million of equipment worth for nothing. So there was a lot of disagreements with the Doctor and Windsor and our thoughts, and also Windsor didn't last long in the story. He only lasted for only 2 episodes and that was it. But what I also like is that the relationship between Mr. Chin and also the Doctor, and especially we see the beginning of their relationship starts in episode 1 of where they don't get along with each other. Mr. Chin is absolutely like a brute authoritative force against the Doctor, and he really gets just on the Doctor's bad side. And when you get on the Doctor's bad side, he overreacts and gets provoked really easily. Like it was the one scene of when Mr. Chin was talking to the Doctor and the Doctor said like, if I had the chance to leave Mr. Chin I would, but only to get away from people like you and your petty obsessions. So he gets overreacted really easily, and if you get on the Doctor's bad side, you are in for an absolute shout of a lifetime. It's absolutely amazing, but very funny as well. Just to see the Doctor overreacting against all of these brute forces that get in his way and disturb him. I really love that. But I think Mr. Chin also has a little thing within this story where Mr. Chin was called up by the minister of how your head is on the block, not mine. And so that really made me think, perhaps he's in the firing line, or perhaps the minister really wants to get rid of him. Perhaps he's tired of his ignorance, and I think everybody is tired of his ignorance as well. And I think he's such a very brute, authoritative figure, but many people really don't like him at all. And especially the Brigadier. The Brigadier doesn't like Mr. Chin taking in charge, because the Brigadier obviously has, you know, so much authority in this story, but he tries to compete with Mr. Chin on who has possession of Axonite and who's in charge of the situation. So you can see their little competitions between each other, and you can see how the Brigadier's like, Captain, this is an illegal act. And so the Brigadier was like, you know, persuading him not to do this, and like how he doesn't have every right to do whatsoever. And so you can see how the Brigadier and Mr. Chin have that authority battle within the story. But nevertheless, the Axons are definitely the main threat in the story, and I love the concept with Axonite introduced. I think Axonite in its entirety, I might as well tell you what Axonite really is and what it does, since you probably may not know the entire story. So Axonite is almost like the entire growth source of the Axon's ship. The entire ship of the Axons is made from one single cell of Axonite, and it grew into an entire ship, multiplied and duplicated all around the entire ship and made it, and especially the ship is so colourful, so bursting with so much creativity. It's absolutely an amazing, brilliant set. Some people criticise about these sets, but again, back to Axonite. Axonite can absorb, convert, transmit, and program all forms of energy, and it can copy, recreate, and reconstruct any given substance. So it's a thinking molecule that can analyse itself and recreate into any object or any person, and it can really help out with the world's famine problems, with food problems as well in other parts of the world. And so Mr. Chin and the Axons really wanted the Axonite to be distributed worldwide, but the Doctor was very suspicious in the beginning, first and 2 episodes. Like, it was thinking like how this Axonite can really help, and how it can be a revolutionary item that must be distributed all around the world so that the world must have it. That's what the Axons are trying to do in this story. They're trying to remove all the energy, even mankind, all life on Earth, and drain it of all of its energy and use it to restore their nutritional cycle for the ship and make it grow stronger and bigger and much powerful as it can be. And with that, they may have the power to transport and teleport or travel through time and space with the Doctor's help. And I think in episode 3, the Doctor was under the lie detector where the Axons were trying to get the truth out of him, and if the Doctor didn't cooperate at all, Joe would age to death. And it was such an interesting scene to see how long could the Doctor see Joe age to death. And it was such an good scene to see the Doctor's reaction to Joe aging to death. He was like, no, stop, I'll tell you everything you want. So he was under the mind of the Axons, and you can see how authoritative and how threatening the Axons are. And just to merely say that the gold faces on their face just look like really humanoid and elegant human beings, but they're not even humanoid. On the outside they may look really elegant, but on the inside they look absolutely so hideous with their hideous spaghetti claws, and you know, they look like a very low budget creature, but they look absolutely amazing. And I think with the budget they had, they look absolutely amazing. They went around all around the entire complex killing people with their spaghetti long, you know, whips and stuff, and they were completely killing everybody in sight. They really were a menacing force in the story, and I really liked the entire plot of the story. It's really strong. There are a few twists here and there, but overall it's a fantastic story. I think when it comes to episode 2, we really understand of how Axonite is not what we're supposed to think at first. Axonite is merely the Axons, the Axonite, the ship. It's all the same thing. Axonite was just a dormant statement until the Doctor activated it in episode 2, but then there's no way to stop it because it's one single living creature, and this could endanger the entire world. With Axonite distributed around the entire world, all of these Axonite creatures will start roaming around the entire world and suck the life out of everything in sight and really aid to the Axons' conquest of the entire world. That's what the Axons plan in this story. I think their plan is absolutely ingenious, along with the Doctor's and the Master's help, and especially the Doctor. I think the Doctor's fantastic in this, although he gets on the bad side of Mr. Chin and all the other scientists who think that he's incompetent with his thinking. The Doctor's fantastic, and he is so kind of very, helpful with Joe in the story. I quite like it where the Doctor and Joe trying to get out of the ship and they're trying to break free, and the Doctor's trying to say what does 3 times 4 make, 12, and basically the Doctor was saying so many sums inside the ship with Joe, and Joe was trying to see if she could answer them, trying to block all disruption in her head, because her brain was going absolutely mental in episode 3 when she was trying to get out of the ship. And since the Master was already deciding either we blow up Axos or Axos destroys the worlds, which shall it be, Brigadier? So the Master was trying to destroy the Axon ship with the Doctor and Joe inside, so it could potentially destroy them. So the Doctor and Joe were trying to get out of the ship. And so yeah, the Doctor was really fantastic in this, helping out Joe within episode 3, trying to get out of the ship, trying to tell her what does 3 and 7 make, 24, and then asking all these other questions that basically block Joe's mind of all the hallucinations within the ship. And I think the ship is absolutely so colourful, bursting with creativity. I absolutely love the interior of the ship. I think it's absolutely amazing, and it really is such a psychedelic set. There's so many flashy colours, it's such a psychedelic set it is. It's absolutely amazing. I really, really like the ship, and I really like how the Axons are really threatening towards the Doctor, and how they really analyse him as an extraterrestrial, as a Time Lord, the same as the Master, and they really don't know what the Doctor and the Master are planning, because in episode 4 this is one twist that I absolutely love in the story, and it's one scene in particular where the Doctor actually betrays Joe, Unit and everybody else within episode 4 and decides to work alongside the Master and get away from Earth. And so it actually felt of a very controversial scene where, is the Doctor actually going to leave Joe and everybody else and just go along and return the Master and fly away somewhere and leave Earth? So was the Doctor actually thinking of leaving? So you could almost see of how the Doctor was very mysterious within those couple of scenes, but also the Doctor working alongside the Master, and the Master was like, "Are you sure about this?" I'm yeah, we either escape together or we die together. Simple as that. I mean, the Doctor really wants to escape Earth so badly, and also the Master does as well, so why not they escape together? But if we basically stay here, we either escape together or we die together on Earth. Simple as that. So wherever the Master goes, the Doctor goes as well. So it's merely the same controversial scenes, but there's a load of interesting plot twists, which I really like about the story. And I think the story is really fantastic. I just think that this story really needs to be more appreciated. And also, the one scene that was actually quite strange to me, and it was in actually episode 1, which was basically when the Doctor and the Brigadier and Mr. Chung were trying and find where this UFO was disappearing to and where it was landing. And during those scenes, there was actually just one scene of where somebody talking very non-English at all. One person in a stranger, living on the streets riding a bicycle through the snow, and she fell into a pond full of freezing water, and he was actually just talking weird English, in my opinion. I thought that was just a bit pointless, in my opinion, and that would be my only negative for episode 1. I just felt that the guy in all the rags just felt a bit freezing at the time, because there was so much snow about, and they were working in very tough conditions. Like, the weather was absolutely mental, snowstorms, the temperature was like about -2. Everybody was freezing, when we're trying to film the Claws of Axos. And I really felt sorry for the person actually falling into the pond full of freezing water. but I felt the scene was a bit pointless. I mean, what did it even have to do with the entire story? It just felt more of like a random person could come along the spaceship, gets drawn into the spaceship and gets injected and disintegrated. That would be it. And so yeah, mention about disintegrating. This person, don't know who he is, but basically this kind of, you know, poor person riding on his bicycle gets sucked into the ship, and then they started to analyze the body, but then they felt that was like worthless, and they started to absorb it, then inject the entire body. When Sergeant Benson and Captain Yates found the body, when they touched it, it completely disintegrated. Like the axons absolutely absorbed everything, every little drop of life through that body, and used it to replenish the nutritional cycle of the entire ship. So is that what they do with weak people? They basically drain off all of the life out of them and basically use it to replenish their nutritional cycle? I think it's absolutely the same thing that they use with Earth's energy as well. I think the ship has many nutritional cycles which need so much energy. So once Axonite is distributed across the world, it will consume every particle of energy in every last cell of living matter. And from that, the entire Earth will be sucked dry. And it's such a fantastic plotline, and I think the characters, especially the characters, are really, really good in this. And I think one character in particular is quite feisty and really intelligent as well, and has a really great sense of humour for all of the dangers lurking around this story. And it's Bill Filer, and he was actually the person who was actually trying to take care of the Master, who had a thing. And also, this was one scene in episode 1 that I absolutely loved. It was one scene of where Bill Filer was trapped in the room with all of the Axos claws and stuff, the Master inside. He was trying to shoot them, and basically like the Master was like, that won't work, and then Bill said like, go to hell. So to be honest with you, that was one scene of where that's the only person who's ever said go to hell to the Master ever. I mean, the Doctor's rarely said that to the Master, but to be honest with you, Bill Filer was the first person to say that to the Master, like, go to hell! Good on you. That was that was really good. But I think Bill Filer overall is really fantastic. And even when his duplicate's trying to bring back the Doctor to Axos, he's actually really good at where you see the two Bill Filers trying to fight each other. And that's the purpose of with Axonite. Axonite can duplicate anybody. It can basically duplicate an entire body. I mean, also at the beginning, the Axons made up basically made up a story of how their world is dying, full of energy, and they basically needed some source of energy to help out with replenishing all of their nutritional cycles and to replenish their planet. It was all basically a made up load of junk. Basically, they made up an entire story in order for the humans to believe them, take the gift, use it to replenish all of the nutritional cycles, and just use it to destroy the entire world. That's what their plan is overall. And I think Bob Baker and Dave Martin really succeeded and really strengthened the Axon's plan within trying to get the secret of time travel, and so they can basically expand their feeding range and travel through time and space, sucking the life out of every single planet and making their entire ship so powerful. Basically, they're just a scavenger race looking for all different types of planets, sucking the life out of all planets and replenishing their nutritional cycles. So they basically receive Axonite as the gift, and they use the Axonite to spread around the entire planet. And with that planet and Axonite being distributed, they consume every single last living particle of energy, every last single cell of energy, and they use it to replenish all of the nutritional cycles within the ship, and to help out with the Axons themselves and form themselves into very perfect, elegant humanoids. And I love unit in this, and I think all the unit personnel are absolutely amazing as well as ever in every single story they appear in. They're always fantastic to perfection. Benton amazing, Captain Yates really obeying orders as ever, as he always will be, and the Brigadier fantastic as ever within his high authority status. He has sometimes competitions with Mr. Chin in like right and authority, and you can really see of how this is a very political story, and it's all about distributing the world of Axonite all around the country. It's all about Axonite then. Mr. Chin is so obsessed with this Axonite that it could be a major, big, massive advantage to the world power complex, but also to end world famine as well. So it can produce unlimited power for the entire national power complex, which Sir George and Windsor work alongside the Doctor to see what Axonite can do for their unlimited power for the entire Britain. The Master in this is really fantastic, and I really like of how he actually realizes of like the Doctor actually wants to work alongside him. And it's like, what? You want to work alongside me? And so like, yeah, of course. And so basically the Doctor and the Master worked so fantastically within the final episode, and they got me worried of whether the Doctor was actually going to survive the explosion of the power complex, because you think about it, Axonite with loads of a nuclear blast coming through, it's going to make a huge explosion, and just as the Doctor materialized, was the Doctor going to be able to dematerialize and basically survive from the explosion? But you're going to have to find out for yourself. And I think the Master is absolutely sensational as ever. He may not have as much seriousness and sinisterness in this, but he does always have that kind of hypnotic trance over every, unit personnel in this story. He's very persuasive, he's very negotiating, and helps out with the humans within the story, as well as the Axons. I think I like their agreement and their little talks where the Master must need his TARDIS in order to succeed with this mission. And so in the end, the Master gets away and gets his TARDIS in the end. He wants, basically, the Axons are preventing him, giving him his freedom and his TARDIS. So he's ultimately, the Master, what he's looking for in the story is his ultimately freedom and his TARDIS, and that's what he wants. He wants to basically leave Earth, and leave Earth for good, because potentially he basically wants to blow out the house on the Doctor and just say, haha, I'm leaving Earth and you're stuck on Earth with the rest of your exile. So the Master is absolutely amazing in this. I think he's absolutely fantastic. I think everybody is just absolutely fantastic within their character development. Although some soldiers do get blown up again with these disgusting, hideous Axon creatures. I mean, the monsters are actually really, really menacing. They go around with their little spaghetti whips and they start to kill people with the jeeps. And I think episode 4, where Benson in the jeep and Captain Yates ride around in the car, and they basically, smash through an entire gate, which was a bit, action-packed. And all of the, Axon menacing creatures started to attack Sergeant Benson and Captain Yates. It's quite an intense battle scene there. And also I really like Havoc in this again. Really controlled with most of the fight scenes. I think the fight scenes are absolutely amazing. And also this is directed by the same person who directed The Ambassadors of Death. Yes, Michael Ferguson. And as you know, in The Ambassadors of Death there was tons and tons of action in that story. And within this, there are some few little bits of action here and there, but overall, a really fantastic story. I really enjoy the entire story. I think the characters are absolutely amazing. I think Jo's really good as well. And she has some great authoritative moments, especially when she's talking to Mr. Chan as well. And she gets really on the bad side on Mr. Chan as well. And you can see of how everybody has a dislike for him. And also the Minister as well. Everybody really wants to get rid of him, including the Minister. The Minister's like, it's your head on the block, not mine. And so basically that means like he's going to get sacked in a minute once his operation is over. Mr. Chin's going to be out of the job and his resignation is going to be off the chart. I think he's done something really, really good for once, but obviously for the wrong reasons, of course. So yeah, this story is really fantastic, and I love the colourful sets of the spaceship. It's absolutely amazing, really psychedelic. So overall, this story is absolutely amazing, with brilliant concept with Axonites and the Axons. I think the Axons are absolutely amazing in this, and actually the Doctor again is absolutely amazing, giving out the equation to time travel itself. Time travel in an exact equation. I mean, who actually gives random equations for space-time travel? I think that's one for scientists to keep an eye out on. What's the equation to space-time travel? Anyway, I think the story is absolutely amazing. The Doctor, again, really authoritative, and if anybody gets on the Doctor's bad side, you really see how he gets overreacted with all these incompetent idiots around him. And we almost see that the Doctor's actually betraying, Jo and units within the final episode, when he decides to work alongside the Master and see what the Axons are trying to do with their plan. and basically the Doctor, in the end, travels back to the Axon's ship and decides to work alongside the Axons. So the TARDIS will become a part of Axos, and Axos will become a part of the TARDIS. So you can see of how the Doctor and the Master are persuading an agreement with Axos, and it's a really fascinating scene. But the Master actually gets away quite easily in his TARDIS and basically disappears. And the Doctor initiated some sort of a time loop around the Axos, and he was trying to break free from it by storing as much energy as possible and trying to break free from the time loop. And in the end of episode 4, he was actually trying to explain what a time loop actually is. But again, I'm not going to go into full detail on what a time loop is, because I think we're running out of time, to be honest. And I think that really concludes the entire review. Again, if you really are a big fan of this story, then please certainly do give a like to this story. Overall, it's a fantastic story, and it's a really, truly underrated story that many people really needs to have another watch at, because it's one of my personal favourites, and I think it's an absolutely fantastic story with so many great plot twists. I think the characters are absolutely fantastic. The creativity with Bob Baker and Dave Martin's writing, and the set designs within the Axon spaceship is absolutely so colourful, really psychedelic, so many flashy colours. It's absolutely amazing. The Axons are absolutely so elegant within their outside, look, but with their interior look, they look absolutely menacing and so hideous, and they're absolutely a menacing threat with distributing Axonite throughout the entire world and sucking Earth dry like a jacket potato, trying to consume every little particle of energy and use it to replenish their entire ship of Axos, and use it to succeed within trying to space time travel throughout the entire galaxy, sucking planets dry, stealing and consuming all sources of energy, and using it for their entire succeeding of the entire universe. And it's absolutely an amazing plot line. So many great plot twists. The Master's absolutely amazing. Working alongside the Doctor is a new one on me. Again, this story is absolutely amazing. Joe is really good in this story. The Doctor, again, fantastic. And overall, I think it's absolutely a well-directed story by Michael Ferguson, and a well-written story by Bob Baker and Dave Martin for their first story in Doctor Who. Absolutely fantastic story. And for my rating, I'm going to give this story a 9.3 out of 10, because it's absolutely a fantastic story. I won't rate it as highly as I would do, because there are certainly a few mistakes which I possibly don't like. I think episode 1 with the scenes of the guy falling into the river and stuff, I thought that was a bit pointless in my opinion, but overall I really like the story, and the introduction to Axonite as well, a thinking molecule that can recreate, absorb, convert, transmit and program all forms of energy. It's absolutely an interesting, fascinating story, and it's such a brilliant, magnificent, really interesting story plotline, character development, and it's really a story which you really need to have another rewatch at. Many people really rarely talk about this story. It's truly an underrated story, and I can certainly say it's one of my favourite John Pertwee stories, because it's an underrated gem in my opinion. It's such a guilty pleasure story. I think it's really a great, enjoying, brilliant story all around. Anyway, that's my review on the Claws of Axos. I hope you have enjoyed it. Please do give a like, but also comment your views on this story, and please do subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. This story is such a brilliant story and really needs to be more appreciated, and I hope all of you out there, if you do have the DVD, definitely pick up the special editions, because there really are some brilliant special features on this, especially with Living with Levine. Basically, it's a documentary on somebody going around John Levine's house and experiencing the entire history on Sergeant Benson. It's absolutely a fantastic documentary. Definitely check it out. Anyway, the next review, which will be Colony in Space, which I don't have the DVD of it, but I will be doing a VHS review on it. But thank you guys for watching for this amazing review on the Claws of Axos, and I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys soon for the next review, which will be Colony in Space. Thank you guys for watching.